You guys, regardless sometimes of what those students, those young men and those young ladies, as they challenge you and they frustrate you, I promise you, they are hearing you, they are listening to you, and even though they always don't give you the reaction that would help, like, encourage you to know, like, am I making a difference? I promise you, I am that kid. I'm a young man that, you know what? People can change. And even though they don't always get it at the beginning, as long as they're breathing, you are playing a huge role in their lives. You are playing an instrumental role in those kids' lives. And honestly, I'm so grateful for administrators and educators like you guys. But I know sometimes it's easy for us to kind of, again, just check it in for the day and just ready to go into the next day and go through the motions, and you're here 180, 190, 200 days, however many days your school year is. And it's hard to get up every single day and to maybe give the best you every single day because you have classes and you repeat yourself maybe with the same class over and over again, and you have to go through the same content and grading papers and this. But I promise you guys, what you do is priceless. And what you do, it means so much to this world. And what you do for this community, and what you do for these kids, you have no idea the fruit of the labor that you're creating in some of these young men and young ladies. You know, because when I'm in Indiana doing Indiana schools, and even though I maybe be 100 miles from where my high school is or where my middle school was, and I'm there sharing, I'm pouring out my heart, and I'm trying to inspire students, and I get a gym teacher that I had when I was a sophomore come up to me and say, "Nate Harmon, are you serious? I don't recognize you today, but I remember that picture. That kid was an idiot." Yes, I was. And I hug him, and I can tell him, "Thank you for when you said this to me. Thank you for when you said that to me. And I'm sorry I didn't respond the way that you probably deserve to see then, but I want you to know you have helped create who I am today." And I guarantee there are many students that have passed through Unity that are going on to other schools and going on and chasing down careers and going on and making a difference in humanity. Not just here in this community, not here just in this state, but you are helping shape, create, inform, and young men and young ladies, people who are changing the culture of humanity. I got to sit down with the leadership today about some of the young men have started charities about shoes and started charities about doing this. Like you guys are playing a role bigger than you. And I know sometimes, man, it is tough because, man, you're just a lady, you're just a man that's trying to figure out the journey too, because you have stuff at home and you have a story and you've got things and you've got these young men that you guys are entrusted with to help create and to carve out and to instill principles and teaching and help them understand. I know that can be tough, but I promise you're making a difference. Because whatever that kid you're thinking of right now, that knucklehead that you probably all have one, right? You have one that you've had in the last few years. You're like, whack, whack, whack. I'm that kid. And a lot of our kids here, they're not nearly as in some of the areas in life of my struggles were. I'm not saying, I'm not minimalizing that. But you have young men and women here that honestly, you play monumental instruments in. And you are giving many students moments of impact in your lives. And you don't even know it. You have the ability to create moments of impact in your students' lives. And my passion and my hope for some of you in here today is to realize it's bigger than your job. You're in a position in these people's lives, these students' lives, these young men and women's lives, that your passion's important. And honestly, I know it's tough sometimes, and we're not perfect either. And I'm not expecting for you guys to always to perform at your highest operating level, right? But what I am challenging you to do is say, to maybe reignite that passion, reignite your why, because I promise you, I'm that knucklehead. And I know that I'm making a difference in life now. And I'm just a product of a whole lot of people who didn't give up on me. I'm just a product of a whole lot of people who, even though I know I stressed them out to the very extreme limit. I mean, I got caught crawling out of my astronomy class. The stars are on, and he's up there showing like the Milky Way, and it's pitch dark, and it's that whole like, you know, I think it's what's the room called even? I don't even know what it's called, but like the lights turn on, and like he catches me like mid crawl, like in one door, because there was two doors, so the light wouldn't like diffuse the room. You open one door, it closes, and you get a leave. The lights turn on, and I'm like through door one crawling out, and he's riding me up, but Mr. Blue, Mr. Blue loved me. And it was more than me just being his student. He saw potential. He saw worth. He saw value. He saw me beyond my performance. He saw me beyond the A, the B. Is he being responsible? Is he listening? He saw the value in me. And what I've learned in my journey that's helped me become successful is I stopped putting value on people for what they do for me. I value people just because they're people. I value people around me just because they deserve that value. And I know it's tough sometimes for us, but if you haven't heard it today, this week, from anybody else, from me, as I've held too many kids, fans that have lost a kid to suicide and to self-harm, just being real. I've held too many kids that struggle with cuts and wounds, and I've held too many kids' hands that had just lost their best friend because he hung himself. I've held too many kids' hands. Like, our kids, they need you. Because sometimes they're not getting the love at home, just being honest. Sometimes they're not getting the attention at home, just being honest. Just because it looks and it seems all dressed and everything looks perfect. Below the surface, many of our kids are wearing masks too. And they're battling and they're struggling. And we, as trusted, caring adults in their lives, we play a huge role to shape and to form. It's tough in this performance-based society. But the more we can, as educators, not put our value on our students by are they performing, but are they progressing? Are they developing? You know what? That young man, he tried as best as he could. And even though he didn't get the grades, I know the effort he put behind it. And even though I may still have to give him that grade, I can make sure that I can tell him how proud I am for the effort, because I know I saw your gears and you were processing and you were working this out. And if you keep working on that character and that hard work and that grit, the performance is going to be there one day, I promise you.